all screwed up. So let's just play the music, I guess. See, he's got me going crazy now. I'm not paying attention. There's some music to start off your Wednesday in a professional sports show. How you all doing today? It is Wednesday. We got midway through this week. I'm your host, Mac, your co-host, the tipster, Mike Tipton, Sonia Pearson from Prim and Proper Sports. I guess it's Prime too. And Bo, who does about everything over there, including, he does the afternoon show. He also does a lot of other shows, and Wednesday is his busiest day. We all know that if we're following. So how you all doing today?
Doing great. Good to see you, Mac. Hope y'all are well.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Yes.
It'd be cool if I didn't mess up the first show of the day.
Okay. Had a little problem, huh, Bo?
Well, I put it on the network, and it's not supposed to air until 11, but it was 6 a.m. my time, so I probably messed somebody's show up.
6 o'clock. Oh, I don't think so, unless it was one of those live restreams. So that's no big deal. So anyway, so we got a lot of things to talk about as always. We got U.S. and Canada playing their second game. As we know, the first game started with 3 fights. I would imagine it's going to be physical again. We'll see if anybody's booing anybody's national anthems or not. I mean, listen, it's kind of bringing hockey back, isn't it, Bo? I mean, this is what people love about hockey.
Yeah, well, and it's also it was great for them to get ahead of the fact that their all-star game last year wasn't great. Like, it's still better than basketball or football. I mean, you don't need to watch any of that. But last year, hockey, their all-star game didn't have a lot of defense, which you don't want to see out of hockey. And so they get out in front of it, and they have competitive hockey to watch. So I like what they've done here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Like, hockey realized they had a problem. They wanted to fix the problem. Luckily, with hockey, they have enough people from different areas that they can make this work, right? Like, we can come up with the Four Nations Cup. I think it's going to be something that they can do throughout the remainder, right? I don't think we're going to get tired of this. Yep. I know there's been a lot of people that have been like, look, the NBA can do this. And I just don't think it's as easy for the NBA to do something like this. Hockey really hit like a home run with this. It's been a ton of fun. We know that there's going to be some booing of a national anthem happening today. Like, it's just going to happen in retaliation. Right? Oh, yeah. But there's so many outside stories and factors that are factoring into how fun the game was on Saturday that it's kind of heightened up this game. And I have a feeling today's game is going to disappoint, or tomorrow's game is going to disappoint.
And people have been looking forward to having, something to propel hockey anyway. I mean, we always talk about how the games are so different, even in the NFL. And now we're seeing the same thing in the NBA. And so we are literally grasping at straws to try to find something of interest in the sports world. And so if hockey is that saving force, then kudos, and I'm here for it.
All right, cool. That's me too. Always loved playoff hockey. Always thought it was the best game during the playoffs because they just fly, but not. And they change. They change right in the middle of the game, and they're both playing offense and defense, as opposed to basketball, who decides to continue to try to improve something that you can't improve at all. The NBA All-Star. Facing a lot of criticism right now. Kevin Smith calls the 3-team tournament a failure. I don't know what's up with Kevin Hart going up and down the court and stopping play so he could tell jokes. I don't. What's up with that, Bo? I mean, I mean, 20 minutes he's out there talking, and people want to watch the game.
The worst thing about basketball is they've made it such a gimmicky thing because their stars don't want to play, right? Like last year they had an all-star game that had 400 points scored in it. I mean, the game has gotten to the point where there's so little defense that your average score today is what the all-star game used to be. And then you have these stars making $50-80 million a year. You can't get them to play enough games to qualify for awards, right? They actually had to set a minimum just to make it so that people kind of wanted to play. Then they add an in-season tournament because you can't get people to show up all the time. I don't know why we're paying them so much. I mean, if you want to give me a bunch of money to not show up a lot, I'm in. I will sign that contract today.
Hey, so many of us that would like getting paid for nothing. I don't even know what the solution is for that. We talk about that and it seems like it's worsening. I don't know if this kind of, you know what? Yes, I do. This starts at the college level. This starts at the college level for every single sport out there. We're looking at NIL for football with college. There's some athletes that do have NIL deals for basketball. We've seen the evolution of women's basketball, evolve because of the catalyst for the WNBA. And I blame the college level. There's a disconnect at that level where they are not maturing these athletes to play the game old school, which is the real school, and they are capitalizing on their name and likeness images and just, hey, this is me. Hey, I'm Sonya. Run me my check. I don't have to make one layup out here. And that's what it is. I think we've confused the game with the fame.
I agree with that to a certain extent. I think it goes beyond college, though, right? Like, I think it's also in the high school ranks where you got AAU coaches telling every single player they have that they're special. And, there's not ever going to be another one of you out here. So we've got to, like, hype you up, and we're making these kids feel as though they're completely untouchable, right? For me, though, I kind of enjoyed it. Like obviously, I'm a basketball nerd. I'll watch basketball anytime I can. So, like, I enjoyed it. What I think kind of set the narrative is you have a current NBA player given a platform in Draymond Green, and every opportunity he had, he was just dumping all over it. Oh, this ain't basketball. This ain't this. This ain't that. And Charles Barkley kind of hit him back with we have to do this because you guys aren't taking the game seriously. Right, exactly. Like that's all it came down to is the players that were playing in the games previously didn't take it seriously. Last year, I don't mind a 200-point game. Like I genuinely don't. I think it's awesome to see that amount of points being scored, but you can tell they don't care. And I think, like, even if you made it, a winner takes all, every player gets $1 million for the winning team. Eventually that'll wear thin because these guys are making $50 million a year in NBA contracts. So for me, I think the NBA is facing a real legitimate problem here. And if all you have to do is name someone an all-star by name, like LeBron James is going to say 5 minutes before the game starts, I'm not going to play. Now you've lost a ton of people who just want to watch LeBron. And it's going to hurt the product later on. And it wasn't that LeBron was hurt. LeBron just didn't want to play.
Yeah, typical.
I mean, I think some of saving it would be tying their salaries to games played, right? Make you actually show up to work. It's weird because if any of us don't show up to work, what happens? Oh, you don't get paid.
You're fired, probably.
I mean, yeah, you're probably fired. But even if you're an all-star at your company and they can't bring themselves to fire you, they still don't pay you if you don't show up.
Yeah, that's true.
So
if I can chime in.
Go ahead, James.
Well, yeah. I don't know if anybody mentioned the CBA. I think it's just a matter of once it's time to adjust the CBA, really the owners and the league should take control of this. They should definitely put some stipulations into the situation or into the CBA where they fight. If there's no legitimate injuries or anything that prohibits you from being participants of the All-Star game, and who cares about the incentives? I think the biggest incentive is like, okay, you're already getting paid. make sure that you're a participant, and it needs to be implemented that you have to actually play the game, play defense. They should just write it out in the CBA and say, look, this is what you're supposed to do. If you don't, this is where we are. And I mean, just do like the Pro Bowl, just do away with it at some point.
I think it goes down to a little more than that, though, right? Like, the Players Association's never going to agree to like those types of stipulations. I think what it's going to have to come down to is the TV contracts are going to have to say, we don't like this product, so now we're not going to pay you for this product the way that we did in the past, right? Like, we always talk about like the in-game stuff, right? Like, imagine that kid that they go, this is their first time, this is the only time they might get to see the star player that they want to see, and they don't get to see him. That's also translating into TV, right? Like, I want to tune into a game. I want to see Victor Wembanyama. I want to see De'Aaron Fox. I want to see those games. If I'm, watching old boy that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago that was traded to Utah that I already forgot his name about, that I said I was going to be his biggest fan. Like, if we're watching that dude, no one cares. And I think that that's what it comes down to is the TV contracts where the money comes from is going to have to tell the NBA, you're not giving us the product we're paying for. Therefore, we're not going to give you the money that we were giving you before in the past. And it's a real legitimate thing that could happen. Once that happens and hits the NBA bottom line, that's where the players will start feeling it.
Yep.
Well, Steve O says you don't get fired for not going to the Christmas party. I don't think that's the same thing. I mean,
the thing that's funny is in the 90s, there were companies that wouldn't give you your bonus if you didn't go, though.
Yep. That is true, Bo. I mean, I remember that because they would look at you like you are different. And that's why people literally had to start coming up with like religious reasons as to why they couldn't participate in certain things. Like they legit had to be like, hey, I don't celebrate because I am this. And that's why we see it now so widespread for just participating in anything, because you're right. I've worked at somewhere that I knew somebody didn't get their bonus because they're like, oh yeah, they didn't come to the party. And I was like, are y'all serious? They're like, yeah, that's like you get your bonus at the party, basically.
Yep, must be present to win.
Yes, like a prize.
Well, I think about it all the time. Like whenever I was in the military, if I just decided one day I'm not going to show up to what this function is that the rest of my group is showing up to, whether it was mandatory or not, the second they told you this is what we're going to do, your happy rear end was there making sure you were, locked up in formation, doing whatever it is you got to do, because if you weren't, it was always a bad day. And I think that the NBA players have gotten away with this for the last 20 years, that it's so hard to put the toothpaste back in the bottle once it's been squeezed out. Like it's already out there. And now the NBA's got to try to play some sort of way of catching up. The product is one of the few products that is actually going down in ratings. Like it's insane to see that the NBA is the only basketball product that is going down in ratings compared to women's basketball, the college basketball game, and all of it. The NBA, the one where you have the biggest stars of them all, that's the one where it's going down.
So there is a reason for part of that. I do want to hit Rob's thing. We're actually talking about basketball as a whole, not just the All-Star game. We just happen to concede the fact that the All-Star game is trash. But to get to your point of why the ratings are dropping, where you're seeing WNBA ratings start to surge, has a lot to do with the fact that the NBA does a ton of one and done, or you're just nailing the transfer portal. So all of a sudden you don't have these stories that you're following through college where you get to watch them for 3-4 years and then get through to the NBA and you have a story to bring in, where the WNBA is getting exactly that now, because the women's side hasn't done one and dones. So you're starting to have stories that you get to follow through their career and then propel you into their pro career. And so it's helping those ratings. And, it's just something that basketball has been extraordinarily short-sighted on. It's something that I think the NFL does fairly well, is you actually have to play a couple of years in college before you can get out. And the one and done, I think, really hurt. And then you add the transfer portal on top of it. So say you do stay an extra year, you're probably still not staying with the school you were at. So, they've done just about everything they can to damage their product.
So
And
let me get to a couple comments by Chris Babcock here. Make it worth something like the home court advantage in the finals. I think they tried that in Major League Baseball and it didn't work out that well. Wasn't that a Greeny idea, something like that?
I mean, they did it for quite a while.
I think it was just recently that they might have stopped doing it. If I'm not mistaken, I think they still might do it. But
No. It's been done for like 15 years, but
we've seen
it for over a decade.
Like in basketball, especially, there's no such thing as a home court advantage anymore. Like how many times do we see an upset in the NBA, especially in the playoffs, right? So to me, that's still not even enough of an incentive. And let's be honest, let's look at the players that were in that All-Star game, right? More than 60% of them are more than likely going to be a first-round exit in the playoffs anyway. They don't care. So it's not that big of a deal. In baseball, back in the day when you had 4 teams get in from each league, it meant a little more. But with the NBA, you got 8 teams, I guess now 10 teams that get into the playoffs. It doesn't have the same weight that it would have had with, I guess, less teams being invited to the dance.
Yeah, when they implemented that win to stay in, like the 7 versus 8 seed and all that stuff, that made it even more complex. And I think that was the NBA's way of trying to shake things up a little bit. But I'm gonna be honest, Tip, when you spoke of this going on, you and Bo actually about this going on for 20 years, I think we are so far removed from the beginning of this issue that we almost have to come up with something new from the jump, like not scrap the NBA. Of course, that'd be absurd. But I'm saying we're going to have to come up with some type of plan from scratch because 20 years is way too long to try to rewind or fix anything. That's a whole dead issue at this point.
And you have to look at what the NBA has done, like in the last decade, right? They've extended the season now, so it was already a long season, but now we have more days off in between because we can't do back-to-backs or we don't want to do back-to-backs. Like they have placated.
God forbid you show up to work twice in a row.
God,
2 days.
Man.
2 a day.
They've limited the amount of practice time. They've limited like rosters, where they expanded the rosters. They've done, all kinds of things to try to placate to the players instead of saying, no, this is our damn game. Yeah. This is what we want out of it. And I think it's become a detriment to the league now because no one cares about the regular season.
They got to get Stern out.
All-Star.
They got to get Stern out of there. That's the biggest thing.
He's sternly going to stay. Okay, he's running it in a stern manner.
Yeah, right into the ground. Just
right.
Wait, what's his name?
Adam Silver.
Silver, not Stern. Stern, dude, Stern was the man.
God,
yeah. So my bad, Silver. The thing that's funny is Silver was Stern's stooge anyway.
Yeah, he was.
But
I have some hate for Stern because of the Sonics.
Oh, okay. But I was gonna say, but under Stern, the NBA was on point. The NBA definitely was on point.
And that was the thing is David Stern was the commissioner of the league. He didn't want to be your friend. Adam Silver's everywhere dapping everybody up, trying to be loved, and he is by far the most beloved commissioner in all the sports. He is also the commissioner of the only sport that seems to be dropping right now.
Yep.
So I want to say, go ahead. Let me just say one thing about that. The NBA is definitely it's in trouble, like as you everybody's alluding to, but I don't understand why these guys can't play 82 games straight. I mean, almost all players back in the day. I mean, and they're supposed to be the guys playing against plumbers and electricians. And they're the ones that actually played the game longer. And I mean, like Jordan, you never really heard of him. I mean, if he got hurt, he got hurt. But most guys try to play through pain. They played. These guys are soft, man. I mean, I just hate to say it like that. It just seems like a really soft league. And what's unfortunate is that you're not having, fans are just really fed up with guys that are premier players that aren't the marquee players not matching up, not playing. Somebody's taking off. You're getting paid way too much money to take off and not play against each other. Like you said, playing back to backs. You got to do that.
Well,
and we're not talking about back to back like double headers baseball used to be. Like this is just you're playing on Wednesday and Thursday. Like
absolutely.
What are we doing? And it's not like players today are playing through rigorous defense. Most of these teams don't even play defense.
And like that's the thing, right? Like we stopped the physical defense to placate, to get to more offense, to do all this stuff, and we've just seen a complete change and shift in the NBA as like a whole, right? Like to me, and I agree with you, Sonia. Like they've been playing catch up for too long. That I think it's going to be almost impossible for them to be able to fix what this problem is overnight. And I think it's going to have to be like a complete regime change here.
Yeah, that's actually
Okay,
true, Mac.
so let's get to some MLB. Scott Boras calls out the lack of spending by Major League Baseball, saying they have plenty of money. Mike Trout is moving to right field and receiving the lowest player ranking of his career. And Stanton has 2 hurt elbows out for the start of the season. So, yeah, the MLB has a lot of money, but that's Scott Brocious, the agent, talking, who hasn't been doing too well with the last of his clients anyway.
Yeah. I think he's driven by the dollar sign at this point. It's not even, I don't see the connection. And unfortunately, we see that across all the sports where you make a name for yourself because you have this one big star athlete. Everybody flocks to you, and there's not the same true connection that you've had. And it just becomes, chasing the dollar at this point. That's what I think about him, honestly.
Yeah.
And the thing about like that, right? Like where we're talking about Major League Baseball has a ton of money that they can spend. Of course they do. Scott Boras is also the agent of Anthony Rendon, who signed a huge contract and hasn't played any games for the Los Angeles Angels, right?
Yep.
Like he's gonna more than likely miss this year. He's probably going to be DFA'd, and he's still going to get $40 million this year and next year to do nothing, right? So if I'm Major League Baseball owners, again, yeah, hand it to us. I would gladly take
I'm
that.
in the wrong field. I'm in the wrong field. I need to go look. When we get off air, I'm going to go look up what are the requirements, what schooling I need to go up here and do this. And I promise I'll carry you guys along with me. But I'm in the wrong field for real.
I'll say, if I could sit and look pretty, I still wouldn't be able to do it because I'm missing the pretty part, right? Anthony Rendon, he's got all his money, and he's represented by Scott Boras. So how dare you sit there and be like, Major League Baseball is being cheap when you represent this guy?
Exactly.
And it's funny because if he were to say there's teams in the MLB that are cheap, I could get with that, right? Because teams like the A's exist. Right? Like you almost feel like there needs to be a basement number of you have to spend at least this on your roster. Let's try and make you competitive ever.
They don't care. They don't care. They're rolling with their name and that's it, basically.
Yep.
Very true.
I like that Brian like Goodell's the devil. He's the only commissioner actually making the owners money. Like that's the league that's excelling. So whether you like Goodell or not, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do for the league.
So what do you guys think about, James, what do you think about Mike Trout going to right field, getting the lowest player rating ever? I mean, I thought he would go to another team by now, but he seems to want to stick with the Angels. Does he have a bounce back here this year?
I mean, where was his rating, you said?
As one of the lowest ratings he's ever had.
I mean, I'm not sure if he has a bounce back season, but there's always hope. There's always an opportunity to bounce back. I mean, it just depends. I'm not sure I don't know. I don't know what his injury, if he's coming off any injury. I mean, is he just over age? I'm not sure.
He is 33.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, probably not. I would say that's probably a downturn right now. If you're somebody that's on the wrong side of 30, usually in baseball you can have a longer career if you take care of yourself. But if you're at that point right now, if you're not doing any good, it's probably not gonna get back on the right side. Not at 33.
Isn't it crazy how we look at sports and we say, okay, 30 is basically geriatric, but for regular life, it's still very youthful, even with no injuries. We look at running backs in the NFL, and it's the wear and tear on the body. It's the
pitchers and quarterbacks have a better opportunity at having a longevity,
yes.
But I mean,
unless you're Adam Vinatieri, who was still a kicker in his 40s, or Tom Brady. Oh my God.
I mean, my career ended at 30. That was it. 30 was it. My knees were like, hey, you know what you should do? Not this.
Yeah.
and like, I'll also say it like this, like being in the military, I know that I've been aging like a banana. So like whenever I was 25, I knew that my athletic career was done, right? Like I was done. But getting back to like the Mike Trout thing, over the last 5 years, he's only played 100 games once. Last year, he played 29 games, right? Like, he's been hurt a lot. So, like, obviously his rating is going to tank because if you're not available, we have nothing to judge you on. So why should he get the benefit of the doubt being a geriatric 33-year-old man aging like a loaf of bread?
Bread, quick.
Hey, at least he's aging like bread. You still get some hair out of that deal. I'm aging like milk. I'm kind of sour, a little chunky.
Well, why don't you age like almond milk? Almond milk is like 4 months on the shelf. You're good with almond milk. But regular dairy milk, that's what goes down fast. I don't drink dairy milk.
All right, there we go. We're talking about dairy milk now and almond milk. So, no,
Mac, I'm sorry. I apologize. You probably hear this a lot in the morning. I'm sorry.
It's going right down that sports path. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So Stanton has 2 hurt elbows out for the start of the season. Sonia, how in the hell do you have 2 hurt elbows? I can only imagine that.
First of all, just the pain of that. You guys ever hit your funny bone, growing up? That is like the worst pain ever. So if you got injured elbows, it's got to be extremely difficult to injure your elbow just in life in general, because it's such an area that's kind of like not right there. It's kind of like, your elbow's in between the upper arm and the lower arm. You usually injure either one of those before you injure the elbow. But this dude can't even really eat. He can't even bend his arm to, feed himself if you got injured elbows. There is no way. There's no way to even function in both of them. How are you like moving about in life right now? He's probably got some type of nurse's aid helping him.
I don't know. I mean, when like both your knees hurt, you don't have a limp anymore because both of them are there.
Yeah, that's true. But with your arms, and trust me, we talk about this, but have surgery or an injury to one of these parts, and that's when you see how important it is. And I know, because I've actually, not elbow, but other stuff. You think about it like, okay, we'll just make this work. But like you're saying, if both of your knees are injured, then you are almost non-ambulatory, because your whole upper body is supported by your knees. That's when you figure out that your knees hold up your body, basically. That's the adjunction of the legs and the upper body. Sorry, Matt. Mac is like, how are we doing this? So anyway, long story short, I don't know. There's nothing to do with both elbows, and you're out for the start of the season unless he does a lot of physical therapy and strengthens both elbows, or at least his throwing arm. Then maybe we can, or catching arm, we can kind of talk about something.
Well, we know that Stanton has a very a big contract, and they've been trying to get rid of him and not. He did play pretty well last year during the season and during the World Series. As a matter of fact, he maybe was the only one that was really performing for us out there during the World Series. But I'm not sure how do you do that is what I'm asking. I don't know how you injure both elbows at the same time.
So
I just don't get it.
I have a theory, right? Like I'm a big Yankees fan. I know Giancarlo Stanton is built like a damn god, right? Like he is the most chiseled man in all of baseball, if not all of athletics. I think what it was is he was trying to get a new personal rep, and he just popped an elbow out. Like that's all. He's curling, and the elbow gets hurt, and it's done. So now he can't swing the bat because he's got to be able to bend the elbows. We know that he can't eat. So now he's done for. He's getting $32 million to to have hurt elbows and do nothing this
That's amazing.
Right.
Right.
It
Again.
is, it
Wow.
year. The more we talk about money in sports, the more I begin to hate sports.
They're like, what are we doing again?
So NFL news. We have Justin Tucker facing allegations by 16 masseuses, including exposed body parts,
Oh my God.
brushing fingers against thighs, and leaving bodily fluids.
No, God.
Yes, bodily fluids. Of course, this hasn't been proven yet, right, by the cops. So if the Ravens do let Tucker go before June, 14.2 million in savings, but mass cap penalties. I would imagine they're going to let him go. Like I said, I think the NFL right now is investigating it. But I mean, you keep having these women come forward, and we got to include him if we're going to include Watson, right?
Well, so the thing that's interesting about it is something that's actually worse than even Watson is there were a couple of those that reportedly had removed him from the premises. They're like, you have to go. So that means people saw this. This isn't a hearsay thing. This is like people in the building, like, you got to go. So do you actually cut him and eat the cap, or do you wait a couple of months and then fire him with no cause because he has conduct unbecoming, which then you don't have the cap hit. Dude's out the door, detrimental to the league. That's the way I would go, because you either get to use him and he's one of the best kickers in the league, or you don't.
I don't think this is my theory. Y'all probably gonna all be shocked. Give him the same benefit you gave Deshaun Watson. Cleveland went out there and what's the dude's name? Stefanski, whatever his name is, went up there and propped up Deshaun, and whatever's going on, we stand behind him. And no. And here we are, 3, 4, 5. I don't even remember how many years now later. After that, they gave Deshaun the benefit of the doubt, and he had women coming out after every game. Give Tucker the exact same benefit. I don't care about the league supposedly cracking down on this. Even with these people supposedly moving him out, okay, maybe that was one incident, but do not simply treat him. Now the league wants to get involved. And let's be clear, at some point, everybody is not a victim. Some of these people, they see a purse, they see the money, and they're going to just jump on the bandwagon. I hate to say it. I'm telling y'all, all my friends always say I have the in-between mindset, because I don't just jump on like, oh, the Me Too, I'm a woman, pro-woman. No. Give this man the same innocence until proven guilty that Deshaun Watson got.
Yeah, he deserves due process. But my question is, are there criminal charges being brought up against him, or is it just allegations and people looking for civil?
I would imagine it's civil, right? Because otherwise you would have heard about him getting at least drug in, right? So it sounds more like these are civil suits to get paid, which is ultimately what these people are trying for. But yeah, I mean, so on the other side of that though, Sonia, I gave Deshaun zero benefits of the doubt. When you have 30 women come out,
I did too.
That don't know each other,
mm-hmm.
and you can prove that he went to all of these different locations, right? So, I mean, like, I went to chiropractors and massage therapists. I went to like a couple, right? Because I knew they were good. I didn't go to a different one every week looking for rub and tugs. Like, that was never a thing. I was trying to get my body right.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I don't, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, why are you finding, in Deshaun's case, massage therapists on Instagram and stuff? I mean, how reputable are we trying to go?
I mean, let's be clear. I am not a Deshaun defender. I didn't care for him, and I felt the same way. I was like, this Cabbage Patch looking dude, what is going on? Like, and he's got a cute girlfriend. Why do you? There's something mentally off that you got to go outside of your relationship to find somebody, you know, that you can't just. And his girlfriend was beautiful. That you can't just be satisfied, even if you don't have nobody. There's something mentally wrong with you that you go and victimize people that are providing a service. I see the question out here from Robert. I want to say this before I get to Robert's question. Some people, and y'all, it's forensics, it's psychology, it's just what it is. Some people's mental, they just are subjected to these type of behaviors. And when they're put in a position such as the NFL where they have, you know, no holds barred to lucrative expenses and money, and there's nothing they can't do. You know, that's why we have, unfortunately, a lot of successful people get into drugs and things like that because they've run out of stuff to do. The mind is bored. They are tired of just spending. They have to find something to intrigue that mental, that small component of their cerebellum that is not being, you know, satisfied. So most people have discipline. They don't. I'm disappointed in Justin Tucker. I was shocked, to be honest with you. I see why now he couldn't make any of those PATs because he clearly was. I'm just disgusted because y'all will roll it back and know I had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. So to have them not go, them or the Bills was my choice. For them not to go, I'm like, what the heck is going on with these field goals? Well, this is what's going on with this ninja. This is what's going on with him. So he's out there, and then you're leaving bodily fluids again, a weakened mind. You're going out there.
So to be fair, these were in the same time period as Deshaun, so he was missing them because he didn't have that release.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Let me move on, Matt, because you know I'll take this show down a whole nother road, and we'll be talking about legal stuff, and it'd be bad. Let me just answer Robert's question real quick. Robert, the NFL does not have the responsibility of being proactive or protecting any female no more than my mom, my dad, my family protects me or any other woman. We are all standing on our own 2 feet out here. And so the league cannot take a position of being proactive against every single woman. If you do that, you're opening the door to Pandora's box because they're all gold diggers out there that all they do is see money. Same type of women that trap guys into having kids with them and stuff like that, and poke holes and you know what, you know, during different, you know, meetings. Those are the same type of women that will accuse someone just to get a check. And it says a lot to me that these are civil crimes and not criminal, because at the end of the day, there is some criminal that needs to be in this. If this is so true, at some point somebody is jumping on the bandwagon. I don't know if it's, you know, Ming Lee that was over there with Shang Lu at the same place or what, but everybody cannot be the same victim. And I'm gonna wait and see how this one plays out. I feel like they don't need to cut him, or at a minimum they would cut him when Bo said after they've missed that cap hit. But right now, you know, and I'm going to be reading up on some, so I have something else to talk about on Sunday about him, Mac. So there's that.
So if I could say this, because you brought up a point about like he's got to be given the same, I guess, leeway that Deshaun Watson was given, right? We have to remember these are 2 different dudes. Deshaun Watson, whenever that happened, was arguably the MVP of the NFL. He was 25 years old. He was still young. He was on the come up. Justin Tucker was missing every damn field goal that he possibly could. He's 35 years old. He had a terrible season. If I'm the Ravens, like, there's no reason for me to keep him. Like, yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty. But you've also proven to me that now you're a liability for my team, and I have no reason to keep you here.
Well, I'm just saying, not from a perspective of being with the Ravens, but I don't think he should be booted out of the league altogether.
But I think that goes with it, right? The second he's done with the Ravens, I don't see him necessarily getting another shot with how bad.
Well, no, let's be clear. Jerry Jones is known for running a prison camp down there, halfway house, because he signed D'Angelo Williams from the Carolina Panthers when D'Angelo beat up his girlfriend. He's also signed a couple of other players, like their names escape me.
I agree.
The guy from Carolina.
I'm sorry, Tip.
No, I mean I
That's
agree
what
with you on
Cowboys
that, but
fans-
it's to address a need, right? Like Greg Hardy, whenever he got him, the Cowboys
Greg
had
Hardy, yeah.
fine. Whenever they got Pac-Man Jones, they had a terrible secondary. They have arguably the best kicker in the NFL right now. They don't need no Justin Tucker.
Well, they might not need him, but Jerry still may open his heart up to sign him as a backup because at one point, let's be clear, y'all, Justin was
The Raiders
decent.
might.
Yeah, Justin was, Pete Carroll. You know, these older
They've also
coaches-
been known to have convicts.
there you go, Bo. These older coaches do give a better chance. You know, now you go up and be with Ben Johnson or none of them. You're not going to the Detroit. You're not going up there for sure with that mess.
Oh,
But they will.
okay.
Who knows? Cleveland might bring him in.
Okay.
I mean, it
All right.
should be Cleveland. It should be Cleveland. He's already wearing orange. It's perfect.
Yes, they're already wearing orange. They know how to deal with this type of press behavior. They know how to take the media hit.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about former and current players becoming owners. Some of these guys I didn't know own certain teams. I was kind of surprised. And so first, Patrick Mahomes owns the Kansas City Royals. I think I saw him at the game. So that's probably why he was there. LeBron James owns partially the Red Sox. That I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah, you knew that?
I
Okay.
didn't.
All right.
So LeBron James is a minority owner in Fenway Sports Group, so he owns a part of the Red Sox, a part of the Pittsburgh Penguins, a part of
Yes.
I want to say it's Manchester. It's one of the football teams over in England that he's a part owner of.
Smart.
Interesting. Magic Johnson, of course, we know the Dodgers in Washington. Brady with the Raiders. Serena owns part of the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that? Okay.
Yep.
And Rodgers owns part of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Which Rodgers?
That I didn't. Aaron Rodgers.
Which Rodgers?
I just said Aaron Rodgers.
I thought that's what you said. My stomach started hurting. I got energy.
Dwayne Wade, the Utah Jazz. Marshawn Lynch,
Oh Lord.
the Seattle Kraken. Now I know he has a lot of businesses that he does. I didn't know he was part owner of the hockey. And Eli Manning and others trying to buy, part of the Giants. I don't know if that's going to work. I think the boxer that retired undefeated was another one that was trying to get in there. And Barry Sanders just got a piece of Detroit. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Only right.
Let's get into a little bit of boxing. I know you guys, a lot of you don't follow it like I do, but Turkey Al-Sheikh is putting boxing shows on for $29.99, which is very cheap. He purchased Ring Magazine in 2024, so he got the press all, tied up. And says boxing should only be 12 rounds because most boxers get hurt after the 12th round. So that's a little bit of boxing news for you all. So
When was the last time we had a
subscribe to that.
boxing match that was
Very cheap.
Yeah, when was the last time we had a boxing match that was longer than 12 rounds?
I was about to say, maybe that's overseas somewhere. I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
When's the last time there was a boxing match you were excited to watch?
boxing tried. What happened was boxing was talking about going back to 15 rounds, back to the old days, and he said he shouldn't do that. So
let's give you more of this product. Very few people want to watch now.
I'm gonna start tuning in so I can have something else to talk about because, like we already said at the beginning of the show, these other sports are not it. NFL has they're getting ready to do the combine and a draft and stuff like that. But we got a little bit of time before that, and so you got to find something to plug in those empty spaces. And so, if that's $29, Mac, I'm gonna look into that. I need to be able to have a conversation with you about boxing. And basically,
Okay.
only you and I be talking, and everybody else can't believe how much I know about it. So I'm gonna make that
I
my
mean,
mission.
I love boxing. The biggest fights in boxing recently have been Jake Paul and whoever, right? Like
Yes.
there's not another big name out there that gets you excited for boxing anymore. Like whenever Mayweather was out there, you had Pacquiao out there, you had Marquez out there. Like it was great boxing with that. There just hasn't been a guy that we can all really get behind, right? Like Golovkin was there, then he falls off. Canelo was there, then he falls off. It's just boxing hasn't been exciting for, I want to say, at least 10 years.
Well, I mean, did you know that? I know you knew that Schofield withdrew from the fight that he got coming up, though, right, Matt?
Schofield? I didn't hear
Floyd
that.
Floyd
I know that.
Schofield withdrew from the Shakur Stevenson fight. That's big news.
Okay. I know that Crawford and Canelo are signed to go at it. I think sometime in September. It's a ways away, but that's going to be a big fight. So
Yeah, that would be a big fight.
Yeah.
Yes. MLB, back to the MLB real quick. Vladimir Guerrero not getting a contract extension. Which teams do you think will pay for what he wants, or is going to want?
He's going to be a Yankee. It's written in destiny. He's going to be a Yankee, and I am so excited about this.
Well, he worked out for the Blue Jays a couple of hours ago, so everybody's linking him to the Yankees. But I wouldn't hold it out about. He's working out with the Blue Jays today, so
I know where he's not going. He's not coming to my Mariners because they don't pay anybody. From Hope to Note begins next.
The Mariners.
Yeah, straight to the bottom.
So I didn't get a chance. I was at the hospital to see a lot of tips in Bo's show. I didn't see what you all really covered, and maybe there's some hot things you talked about that I didn't see. So, Bo, was there any hot topics that you had?
One kind of cool thing is my co-host for the Coach's Corner. He is the new special teams coach for the University of Tennessee. So he is back in the coaching realm. Our coaches show obviously comes to an end because of it, but he makes his return back to the college ranks. So super excited for him. It's going to be awesome.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Excellent.
Good stuff for him.
I like that.
Mine was basically, how can we fix basketball? And there's no real way that we can fix basketball. Basketball is broken. It will continue to be broken. I love basketball. Like, I will watch the European leagues. I watch the G League. That's how much of a basketball nerd I am. And even I am starting to turn on basketball with the product that they've been presenting us.
Well,
next year's All-Star game they're just going to play horse.
I'm down. That would be amazing. That'd be a great game.
Play crickets. How about Mac? Me and J Train have something to talk about. Me and J Train. Yeah, we have our group chat that we do all our sports like pre-talk during the week. And so Brandon Ayuk had a little law enforcement exposure this week. And on our show this Friday, we're going to be talking about, well, J Train, you tell them. I'll let you go. You haven't said much.
Straight up the bus.
You go more than me. You go ahead.
Andy Dalton got re-signed with my Panthers. So congratulations. We're so excited to bring him back. And this week we're going to be talking about the ranks and stuff of different players. We're going to be talking about just the fact of how the offseason is affecting everybody. We talk about so much stuff. J Train, am I missing something? Because I'm going through the conversation. I didn't know we were going to be given a platform.
I guess new coaching hires and different things like that. Also, and the combine's coming up next week. That's for me. That's one of the big highlights of after football. I can't wait to the combine. I know we're all going to talk about that and what our teams are probably going to be looking for towards the draft in the NFL. So
yeah, and especially the fact that Cam Newton came out on the record and basically said he was part of a loser locker room. Sir, like, we definitely got to address that. lot of NFC South talking. I know you guys don't really give us the respect that we have, but we're also going to be talking about a list of players that never got their respect: Jonathan Hankins, Michael Thomas, Ezekiel Elliott, AJ Hawk, Chase Young, Malcolm Jenkins, Cameron Hayward, Malik Hooker, and Von Bell. We're going to be talking about all those guys on Friday.
Actually, I got one for you
So
guys.
Tip-
I even have a slide for you.
Oh. Oh, shut your mouth, Robert. You know what makes him exciting.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out the same thing. I'm trying to. Why? Why were you excited about Andy Dalton?
I mean, I just like him. I loved him when
There
he
you
was
go.
with someone else. Oh. Email me that. Let me use that for my show on Friday. I need
Yeah, will do.
props.
I will let you know.
Whoa.
My guess right here
Say
is
what,
Liam
girl?
Cohen.
Child, Pete Carroll looked like one of the presidents. I thought that was Jimmy Carter for a minute. What is going on?
It's got to be Shoddy. Shoddy's got to be the first one that gets fired. But
No.
Yeah,
I'm going
he's
Liam.
the real coach. He's the offensive coordinator. Got moved up.
Liam Cohen's going to be the first one to get fired. Whenever
I
you say
think Mr.
Duval,
Duval is going to get
It-
fired first. I
They
agree.
about to shot Brian Schottenham up out of there.
hey, when you say it
Duval.
like it's a question, Duval.
Yes!
and it's not just that. The face
Oh
face
my
was
God,
creepy.
what was that?
Like everything about it
Duval.
was weird. It was just like his,
Duval.
dude, look at his picture. That's the worst picture you could have found of anybody.
I
Like
forgot about that.
everything about it.
Duval.
Let's get a big Duval.
I can't stop
Duval.
saying that. It's terrible.
What?
It was
And,
It
he,
was
and
so
he's been
bad.
coaching.
It was so bad. But
And
at
he's
the
been
same
coaching
time,
right there in Florida. How do you not know Duval? Like, you're right,
Right?
there, dude.
like, how have you just never
Duval.
walked through the building when you played them before?
I forgot about that.
But yeah, I mean, so Shoddy probably has the easiest path to get bounced because if he has like a 5-win team, even though it's not his fault because that team's, in cap trouble, because he was unproven, I could see Jerry Jones getting mad and booting him.
Yep.
Whereas Cohen, I think, has at least 2 years. Like, I don't think he'd be a one and done. Shoddy could be a one and done.
I just want to say this. I want to say this while Bo is frozen up. Listen, the Duval
sorry.
thing alone is enough. The Duval thing alone is enough to get up out of there, like to demote you down to, team security or whatever. But let's be clear, and this is no hate whatsoever.
Tips
The
about
fact-
to bounce
Let's
out.
be clear.
The fact that Jerry Jones basically promoted from within an already losing offensive coordinator to the head coaching position lets me know that he just didn't want to take the time to go out and look for a coach. And this is just a delaying of the inevitable. Look how Tip just got off of here.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I saw his battery light. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
he's
it's perfect timing. That's exactly what the Cowboys are going to do. Lights out. Lights out. This happened to him and I the other day on the show. Anytime you start really nailing home the Cowboy stuff, his battery goes down. So he should do
He's
like
like,
I do. I
drive
keep my device plugged in so that there
been
is no
through a
battery.
tunnel. Let me get out of here.
There's no battery issue. You got to keep your
Well,
device plugged up.
let's-
But that's what it is.
Let's talk. Let's talk a little bit more about the Cowboys, especially since Tipton's not here. Prescott says that the Dallas Cowboys are close to the Eagles.
Oh,
I heard.
I don't know.
Oh, they're not.
I mean,
You want that soundbite?
no, they're
You
not.
mean in proximity? They're not even close
Yes.
geographically.
What is he supposed to say other than that? I mean, we all know it's not the truth, but I mean,
It's
he's got to
what
say something to give hope to that city. I mean,
so it's what he said. That as soon as you hear this,
feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
Okay.
That face right there. Keep that
Not
same
only
energy, because that is exactly the problem.
I don't know what year he had the right to say that, but he needs to take the money he's given and go work on that tooth that's down, that's shaved down. That's the problem there with this whole clip. I couldn't even get past that. Like, I don't have the best teeth, but sir, you're a millionaire. Go get you some veneers, and if not, that tooth may be infecting his brain, because for him to say they're close to the Eagles is not even close. And that is insane. He's just trying to hype up his team right now. That is the biggest lie told if I ever seen in sports history.
Mac, I know you're a diehard Giants fan, but you're not a homer. You're one of the most realist people I've heard talk about your team, and you know where they are. This is just a guy who's trying to save face right now, and we know what it is.
Of course.
So a guy that had
I thought we had more in us, and I thought we would be back. Obviously, we weren't. But not only were we not back, but here we are almost 3 decades later, and no one's been back. And so I think I speak for the Cowboys faithful in saying that it's been a long time, and this is the Dallas Cowboys, and it's an organization that's had great history, and this team has won a lot of games over the years with a lot of different players, but for whatever reasons, they just haven't been able to get it done in the postseason. But I don't think anybody's happy about that. That's been a part of the Cowboys' legacy and what this franchise has stood for so many years.
Right back in time.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't get to hear any of that conversation. All I know is Dak Prescott is a god. Troy Aikman is amazing.
What? God of what?
All right, I have to tap out now.
No, like I agree with what J Train said. Like, what is Dak supposed to say? Is Dak supposed to be like, nah, guys, we're garbage? Like he's supposed to be like, nah, we're there. Like, he's supposed to give hope to the team. Obviously, he's full of crap. But I mean, come on. But like, it's just. It's give Dak a little bit of leeway. Like, he's just saying what he's got to say. It's quarterback speak. Quarterbacks never say anything controversial, and there it is. Like Dak's doing what Dak's gonna do. I think it's the dumbest statement he's ever said, and that's saying a lot because he said some pretty damn dumb things. So I mean, it's.
God.
Yes. Listen, I mean, I do get it. You want to have your team feel good about themselves, or you want to act like they're the leader of the team, or whatever you're going to try to do there to give them some confidence going forward. But nah. I mean, Saquon,
you're not close.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you're not close. In fact, you're getting further away because of the cap issues. So, I mean, you can say, hey, we can make some moves to be there. Right. But you can't be like, oh, yeah, we've been getting the best of them, and pump the brakes. Right. Like, the people you're talking to watched football.
Yeah, there's a difference in actually hyping your team up and just being delusional. And he knows, and anybody that's not even a kid watching Tom and Jerry can know that they're not even close to the Philadelphia Eagles without even knowing any stats or the history. And the fact that they said it's been 3 decades, I'm just sitting there like, man, 3 decades was like the introduction into my adulthood. That y'all have not been to the championship since I've been grown.
Since 95. We were 20. We were 20.
I was 20. I wasn't even legal. That's what I'm saying. My introduction to adulthood, y'all ain't been there. And let me also add, that's the same year the Panthers came into existence. So you have not been to no championships since the Panthers were born. Hello.
All I will say in defense of Dak Prescott is the D in Dak stands for delusional. We've seen some of the passes he throws, like he's not the guy that he thinks he is. So yes, the Dallas Cowboys have been terrible, but stats, right? We're all about stats. The Dallas Cowboys lead the all-time series 74-58. Boom, we got them. That's how we're close.
Is that how you're doing it?
That's it. The stats. Okay. Tiny clap.
Hey, there you go. All right, folks.
Wherever I can get it.
All right, folks. We're at the top of the hour. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the comments and views. We love having you come in every Wednesday with us. We'll see you tomorrow. I know Tip will be there. Bo, James and Sonia, I think, are on tomorrow night. Also, I will probably have a rescheduled show. But anyway, folks, have a great one.